Welcome to another tutorial on C programming. We are going to code a program that sums two numbers. Without wasting time, let's go directly start with the code. We know that every C program code must begin with the include statement. Basically for this code we are going to be needing some memory space where we will have to store the values we will have to add. The computer needs some memory space where it would store the numbers before summing them up and giving us the results. That brings us to the concepts of variables. That means we are literally going to have to declare variables and initialize them before for our program to actually be functional. That's for our program to work properly. I'm going to give a comment. I would say declaring the variables. Now I'm going to be making use of integers. So it's going to be some int num1 and int num2. And the last memory space is going to be storing the sum of the first two. So I've declared three variables, among which two of them are the variables that are going to be storing the values to be added, and the third sum is going to store the summation of the two. So I'll initialize this to 5 and initialize this to 4. So declaring and initializing. Declaring and initializing the variables. So I've declared and initialized num1 and num2. We now go in with our main function. In the main function now, we are going to be summing these two numbers. In this first part of the code, this first part of code is reserved for variable declaration. We have declared our variables and we have initialized them. That's equally good. Now we will have to actually sum them up. So this code section is going to be for summation of those two numbers. So I'm going to be saying that I'm going to be summing them up. Summing the integers. Now I say that sum is going to be equals to num1 plus num2. Now, the most important of all is giving back to the user the result of our work. It's going to be a mess if we actually do all of this without printing it back up at the end of the day. So we print f and we say, okay, the result is %d, comma, sum. And then we return 0. So feel free to pause the video and type this code before trying to actually execute it. So I'll be running mine directly using F11. I haven't yet saved, so I'll save it to Summation. And then it's not a C++ source file, it's a C source file. Then I save it. The result is 9. Probably, as you can see, well, the summation of 5 and 4 should eventually be 9. So what have we done? We say printf, the result is %d, comma, sum. %d is defines an integer. There is no other way you could. This is the simplest way for you to print the variable sum inside the print statement. Basically, if you write in here sum, it's just going to print sum, just as if it was a plain text. So for it to be considered as a variable, you need to use this %d. Well, apart from that, let's try modify them. We say maybe 5 and 5. F11 does it give us 10? Yes, the result is 10. What if now, instead of just adding two numbers directly from the program, we now wish these two numbers to come from the user? That means we are going to be taking numbers from the user and then summing it and giving it back to the user. For that to work well, we are not going to initialize them. We are just going to declare them. So after declaring, we are not supposed to get user inputs. For user to enter a number to be summed up, we need to first of all tell the user, okay, well, we need a number from you. So once the user has entered the number, we need to actually save the number in one of our variables. So for that to happen, we need to scan it from the user. So we are going to use the scanf function to scan it from wherever the user is going to print it. What are we scanning is an integer. So we use the placeholder %d again, scanf %d, and then we're going to be saving it on the number 1. So if you want to maybe read this particular statement, you're going to say, okay, scan the integer given by the user and store it under number 1. The syntax is exactly as you see it. If you forget one of these symbols, well, it's going to generate some issues. So this is basically how it's going to work. And you're going to repeat the same thing for num2. Basically, I'll just copy the piece of code and then print it back down here. So now we'll say, okay, enter another number. Enter another number. Enter another number. Once the user enters the other number, we're going to be scanning it and storing it under num2. And then we sum the two numbers and tell him that, okay, well, that's the result. So let's run it and see how it works. Okay, this is not working because I gave a print f with a capital F. Well, it's a small f. And as you can see, undefined reference to print f. C is very, very case sensitive. So let's now run it and see what it actually gives. Okay, enter a number, I would say 4. Says enter another number, I say okay 5. Then the result is 9. Let's try again, entering different numbers. I would say F11, okay. Say 0. Enter another number, I would say 23. The result is 23. So this program works perfectly. In this code now, for you to understand more on how the printing of a variable works, it will be very, very important for us to use this. We are going to be saying that, okay, the sum of %d and %d is %d. So, well, in this I wish to print that, okay, the sum of num1 and num2, maybe the user enters 4 and 5, the sum of 4 and 5 is the 9, for example. For us to do that, we need to know, okay, this first %d should store the first number. So what's the first %d here? It should be num1 from the user. It should be this num1. So here we give num1. The second %d num2. So the sum of num1 from %d and num2, the next %d, is num is sum, which is the next %d. So we run it and see. Enter a number, I would say 6. The next 7. So okay, the sum of 6 and 7 is 13. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video on C programming.